Hi everyone, welcome or welcome back to my channel. Welcome to today's video, which is going to be another book haul. I have accumulated quite a few books over the past month. March was my birthday month, so I was asking for books as gifts from people. I was also buying a lot of books as birthday gifts to myself, and I just had other reasons to buy books in general, so I will get into that. So I thought it would be the perfect excuse to film a book haul video. I'll show you guys the books that I got, tell you a little bit about them, what made me want to pick the books up, and when I plan on reading them. So with all that being said, let's jump into the book haul. So first I'll show you guys all the books that I received as gifts from other people for my birthday. The first one I asked for is Nora Goes Off Script by Annabelle Monaghan. This one is following Nora. She is an author who writes this book based on a real life situation that happened to her. Her husband cheated on her, and the book she writes about this situation ends up becoming really popular and it gets adapted into a movie. So Nora, obviously being the author of the book that's getting adapted, has a big part in writing the script for the film, and the man who gets cast to play her husband in the movie is this like huge Hollywood heartthrob, and they end up having a little spark, and I believe it follows their romance, and it just sounds really cute. I've heard lots of great things about this book from everyone who's read it. The first person I heard to talk about it was Noelle Gallagher, and she raved about this book, and since then I've heard lots of 5-star reviews for it. That's really all it takes for me to want to pick up a book. I'm very easily influenced. If a couple people give a book 5 stars, I'm in and I want to try it out for myself. You'll see that to be a running theme throughout this video. So I can't wait to pick this one up. I'm planning to do so sometime this spring, if not early summer. The next book I got for my birthday is The Roughest Draft by Emily Wibberley and Austin Siegmund Broca. This was on my summer TBR last year, but I didn't get around to reading it. So it is at the very top of my summer TBR for this year. This was one that I saw on so many people's favorites of the year list from last year. I've seen so many 5-star reviews for this book, but I've also seen a lot of low ratings for this book. It's one that I think gets kind of mixed reviews, but I do think it's going to work for me because it's been compared to an Emily Henry novel. I've heard people say that it's like the best parts of People We Meet on Vacation mixed with the best parts of Beach Read, and that's really all you need to say, and I'm sold. I love that this book is about a couple who is a writing duo, and it's written by a couple writing duo. In this book, we're following these two authors who were once in a relationship, but they have since broken up and split, but they're still under contract with their publishing agency to write one more book together. So they end up going to this vacation home in Florida. It's a very perfect summery setting, which is why I want to read it in the summer, and they end up writing one last book together, and I think their feelings that they still have for each other kind of come out through their writing. It just sounds super cute and fun, and again, anytime a book gets compared to Emily Henry, I have to pick it up. Then I got One True Loves by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This one is one of my most anticipated reads for 2023. It's on my 23 books that I want to read this year TBR list, if you watched that video. This was another one that I saw on a lot of people's favorites from last year list, which kind of surprises me since it's not one of TJR's more popular books and it is one of her backlist books. And it also sounds very different to like the newer books she's been doing where she writes about like fictional celebrities and she's kind of created this whole new world for herself. But this one sounds like I'm really gonna put myself in the character's shoes and just be like so torn. So basically it's about this woman who marries her high school sweetheart, her soulmate essentially, and then one day she gets a call that his plane went down and they can't find him, so he is presumed dead. And then she tries to pick up the pieces of her life and pull herself together when she ends up reconnecting with this guy she knew in high school. They were just friends, but they kind of now have a more romantic connection, so they end up getting engaged. But while she is engaged to this new man, she gets a call that her husband, who was presumed dead, has actually been stranded on this island trying to get to her and is alive and well. And so now she's torn with this impossible decision. Does she go back to her soulmate, love of her life husband, who she thought was dead, or does she stay with this new man who she's like moved on with? And I just can't imagine being in that position. I am so curious to know what decision this woman is going to make, and I can't wait to try out something from TJR's backlist. The next book I got is Yerba Buona by Nina LaCour. This is one I don't know a whole lot about the storyline, but I believe it's a romance between two women. One of the women is a bartender, and then I think she ends up getting a job arranging flowers hence the cover. This book kind of gives me spring vibes because of that, so I'm planning to pick it up soon. The thing that really made me want to pick it up, I've seen so many aesthetic TikToks of this book and I was just so drawn to it because of that. I swear these TikTok girlies really know how to pull you in and make you want to buy a book, but I think it's kind of going to be a coming of age story in addition to the romance, and that's something I've learned I really enjoy in books. So spring vibes, I'm going to pick it up soon. I can't wait to read it. I've heard lots of good things. Then the last book I got for my birthday, I got this brick of a book, Babble by R.F. Kuang. There's no way you've not heard of this book. It has been absolutely everywhere. People have been loving it, raving about it. It is a dark academia book, and I know it has a lot of commentary on like colonialism and language, which I'm so interested to read about. I'm definitely saving it for the fall because it is dark academia. I just associate that with fall, and I feel like I would enjoy it so much more reading it during that time. But I can't wait to get into it. I've heard so many good things. I feel like this is one too that I'm really gonna have to be in the right mindset to read it. So I really just have to like turn my brain on to understand that level of like literary masterpiece that I'm expecting this to be. But I cannot wait to see what all the hype is about with this one. The last category of books I have to show you guys are all books that I bought for myself, either as little birthday gifts to myself or for other reasons. So the first book, I actually went to Barnes & Noble on my birthday, and this is one of the books that I bought. The Deal by Elle Kennedy. I read this actually already back in January and fell in love with it. Was not expecting to, but this was an easy 5 stars for me, and this was my gateway into the world of hockey romances, and now I am obsessed. So I feel like I definitely needed to own the physical copy. And I also bought this because I was planning a little Instagram post with hockey romances on my Bookstagram, which if you're not following, you definitely should. I always have it linked below in the description box of my videos. But The Deal is a hockey romance, like I said, that takes place at a fictional college called Briar University, and each book follows a different guy on the hockey team and their love interest. And I just really love the love interest in this book, and I love the romance. It is so good. I feel like this series is so worth the hype, and I can't wait to pick up book 3 very soon. But definitely needed to own the OG since I'm loving hockey romances so much at the minute. The next book I got is Alone with You in the Ether by Olive E. Blake. This is one that I've heard compared to Normal People a lot. I've heard it's a really beautiful love story and that the writing is just incredible. This is one that I've seen some mixed reviews on. I've heard that some people love it, but I've also heard from people that don't love it that there's not really much of a storyline and it's more like pretty writing and nothing else. So I'm interested to see my take on it and how I feel about it, but I have a good feeling about it. I'm really hoping to love it. The next book I got is The Bodyguard by Catherine Center. This is another one that I saw so many people put on their favorite books of 2022 list and that I've seen give 5 stars. I have never read a bodyguard romance before, but I know in this book the woman is the bodyguard, so that's kind of a different take on the bodyguard trope. If I hadn't heard such great reviews on this book, I don't think it would be one that I would want to pick up. But because of all the rave reviews I've heard about it, I definitely wanted to give it a try. For some reason, anytime I see a book with flowers on the cover, I'm just like, oh, that's a spring book. So this is probably one that I'm going to be picking up very soon, even if it's not spring vibes. I feel like a romance is always good to read in the spring and summer. So I'll probably be picking this one up in the very near future. The next book I picked up is Last Time We Met by Emily Houghton. I still don't know how to pronounce her last name, but I believe I put this book on my 23 books I want to read in 2023. I first heard about this book from Rachel Catherine, who I have very similar book taste to. She gave this book 5 stars and compared it to Emily Henry, which is enough alone to make me want to pick this book up. But the thing that really drew me to this book, I mentioned this before on my channel when I talked about this book, but the 2 main characters' names are Finn and Eleanor, and those are my 2 favorite names ever. Like, if I have children one day, those names are going to be at the top of the list for what I might name them. This one did take a while to get to me. I ordered it like 3 weeks ago and it finally got here through Book Depository. I think this book is either British or Australian and it's not very widely available, but I'm so glad to finally have it and I cannot wait to pick this one up very soon. This is also a book that I think I'm going to give 5 stars to. The last 3 books that I want to conclude this book haul with are all by the same author. I have listened to all of these books on audio before, but I had to own the physical copy because the author actually came to my local bookstore this past week for a book signing to promote her latest release, and I met her and she signed all my books, and it was one of the most exciting moments of my life. I just can't even believe that it happened. I'm still like replaying the whole thing over in my mind. But those are 3 books by Queen Sally Hepworth. I got The Good Sister, The Mother-in-Law, and her newest release that just came out this week, The Soulmate, and she signed all my books. It was truly so exciting. She is hilarious. She is like a genius. I love all her books so much, and it's really rare for me to like more than one book by an author. I feel like a lot of authors for me are kind of like one-hit wonders, but I truly love all of Sally Hepworth's books so much. So I obviously had to have the physical copies of these books so that Sally could sign them. So I just picked up my 2 favorites, and then we got a copy of her newest book for her to sign when we were there. So the first book of Sally's that I ever picked up that made me fall in love with her books is The Mother-in-Law. This one follows the relationship between Lucy and her mother-in-law Diana, and you get both of their point of views. And I really love this book because it shows you how things can so easily be misconstrued. And I just love how this book like constantly played devil's advocate and really showed you that like there's always 2 sides to a story. And Sally does such a good job at like painting a picture to make it seem like it's one way, but in the end you realize you were completely wrong about certain characters. The story was just so intriguing the entire time and made me want to instantly pick up more from her. The next Sally book that I listened to on audio was actually my favorite. This is The Good Sister. This one follows twins, Fern and Rose, and you see that they had a rough relationship growing up with their mother, and you see that Fern would always get in trouble and Rose would always be the one to stand up for Fern and take the blame for her. So in the present, Rose is trying to have a baby but is unable to get pregnant, so Fern decides that she will have the baby for Rose to repay her for all the years of kindness that Rose showed to her. And this book, again, Sally does an amazing job at painting the characters in the story to be one way, and at the end you realize you were completely wrong and your brain gets tricked, and it's my favorite type of thriller. I was so intrigued by this story the whole time. This is one of my favorite books ever. It's 5 stars, my favorite Sally book, and obviously had to get this one for her to sign. And The Soulmate is her newest release that just came out this week that she was on tour promoting. This was one of my most anticipated reads of this year. I've started it. I'm about 30% of the way in, and this book is following a married couple, Gabe and Pippa, and they live in this like cozy cottage by this cliff. And this cliff is actually a popular spot where people come to jump from the cliff. And Gabe has kind of become this like hero figure where he has talked about 7 people off the ledge and saved their lives. But there is this 8th woman who comes to the cliff one day, and Pippa, the wife, is like watching them through the window. She's like, oh no, how is this gonna play out? And she turns her back for a second, and then when she looks, the woman has gone over the cliff, and her husband Gabe has his hands outstretched, and she's like, oh my gosh, did my husband just like push this woman from the cliff? What just happened? Can I trust my husband? Is there something going on between them? Who is this woman? So again, in all of Sally's books, we're following a dysfunctional familial relationship. In this one, it is following a marriage between Pippa and Gabe. So yeah, like I said, I'm 30% of the way or so into this one. You will hear all my thoughts on it in my April wrap up. But yeah, Sally is just amazing. I'm so happy to have met her, and obviously that is why I had to pick up 3 of her books. And that is going to conclude this book haul. I hope you guys enjoyed watching. If you did, be sure to give this video a thumbs up. Hit the red subscribe button down below to stick around to my channel. Leave me a comment and let me know which of these books you think I should pick up first. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you so soon in my next video. Bye guys.